understand why the coffee at the coffee shops here in Munich doesn't taste like this. I make the best coffee in Munich. You're welcome to come and hang out at my coffee shop. What are we talking about today? For the longest time, I've been wanting to play around with a lens that would fundamentally change the image I was shooting and how I was shooting that image. Something that would unlock like another layer of creativity and really push my passion for filmmaking. So last year, I bought Anamorphic lenses. These are not sponsored. I bought them with my own money. It's only 3 of them, not 4, but I got a 33, a 50, and 100 mils. Using these lenses is the most fun I've had with filmmaking in quite a long time. I have had no previous experience with manual lenses or anamorphic lenses, as my work hasn't really required them up until now. I shoot mostly sports and automotive content, and for that I'm really looking for clean, crisp images. I'm looking for often zoom, to be versatile in like run and gun style, or just lightning fast autofocus. In fact, this is my main workhorse. It's the absolutely enormous 28-70 f2 from Canon. I'm absolutely in love with this lens. It's almost a prime lens from 28 all the way to 70. It's just completely different to what these things offer. Fundamentally, you're not going to get any of those characteristics I just mentioned from these lenses. So let's start with image quality. I've been using them exclusively with my Canon C80, and I can honestly say that I am super impressed with the overall quality of the images that I'm getting from these lenses, provided you understand the type of image you're getting and that is actually what you want. Because like I said, these are not your super clean and crisp lenses like typical equipment that we'd use, or photo gear, or more traditional cinema lenses. They really are far from technically perfect, and that's why I love them so much. They give you this like ultra immersive, like almost dreamy, authentic feeling, like you really are there in the moment. It's quite hard to describe. It's like they have this characteristic, and I don't know if it's unique to the Blazar lenses, but to anamorphics in general, like they just give you, there's something about them that just makes you feel like you're there in the moment and you're really experiencing it in real life, which I've never had before on any other lenses that I've used, which have obviously always been spherical lenses. They're just beautiful, but there's some technicalities behind that and some considerations that I think are worth looking at. The first of which is lens distortion. I've been using this 33 by far the most of the ones I've got, and the 100mm the least. And with the 33 and the 50 especially, you notice the edges because these lenses are wide, like really wide. And that's another characteristic of an anamorphic lens. These are 1.5x squeezed. So with a 33mm, you're getting the compression and the height of a typical 33mm, but you're getting a width that is far more than a typical 33 spherical lens. And that is super fun, but it also completely changes how you compose an image, because the composition is completely different to what you're otherwise used to. That does mean that the edges are very soft, and in some cases not super pretty. So whatever that subject is that is maybe in that part of the frame, it's going to look distorted and not really pretty. But again, I think that's part of the characteristic of some of what these lenses kind of represent, and it's super fun. It's super fun to use them, precisely because they're imperfect. That's just something to be aware of. Next up is the bokeh. The oval bokeh. I have to laugh about this because the first project I actually used these on, we showed the client on one of the first days some footage, and the client basically didn't see the difference. They didn't understand what is now so special about these, or what is so different about these, or unique about these. And we were trying to explain it looks so different, the image, because the bokeh is oval. Can you not see all the blur, everything that's out of focus is like not round, but it's oval. Anyway, they didn't quite get it. They loved what we were making, but they couldn't see that kind of intricate detail. But every day for the rest of that week shoot, every morning we'd arrive on location and we would just walk around like this. whenever he saw us, just to make fun of the oval bokeh. The bokeh is actually one of my favorite part of these lenses. The roll off from what is in focus to what is out of focus is just like butter. It's so beautiful. And the way that the out of focus elements stretch because of the oval and just kind of melt into the background. Considering the price of these, to my eyes at least, it's super beautiful. Don't know if you can see the oval element there. When we showed the client, he was like, cool, nice. Could not care less about the oval, but that's the running joke now. Next, let's talk about sharpness. And this is, I think, now going back to what I alluded earlier, that these lenses are not clean. They're all pretty fast. This is a T1.8, but stopping any lower than T2.4, and it's quite hard to nail focus, to be honest. It just feels too soft too often. Although the focus throw is so nice and smooth, and the noise, it's smooth and accurate, and you can be accurate with it. The sweet spot really is somewhere between 2.8 and 4 in terms of having still a nice depth of field, but also having your subject like for sure in focus. So for run and gun stuff, when I'm at a racetrack, for example, which I shoot often, I'm actually often shooting around f4 or between f3 and f4, just because everything is happening so fast and you don't have the time to double check, am I now in focus? And if you're down at anything below 2.8, the moment's already happened and you weren't sure if you were in focus or not. So for really fast sports, I've been shooting a bit closed, but at other times when I do have the time to accurately check, okay, what's the focus and can I afford to open up a little bit more, then I can nail the focus and it's fine. But it's just something to be aware of. They're not the absolute sharpest things in the world. And then a small caveat with that creatively is actually the sharpness and the softness of the focus sometimes is something I've actually really liked creatively, especially with interviews or a similar situation to an interview, when the subject is just gently through some of their movements, moving in and out of focus, just softly. It just creates a really unique and authentic raw feeling. It doesn't seem digital and over sharpened and, hyper perfect. It actually just makes it feel real. Obviously, your subject needs to be more in focus than not in focus, but having that kind of gentle, soft, moving in and out of focus is actually really cool. And I've really enjoyed using that as a creative choice for some work. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a drawback, but I guess, again, something to just be aware of. Okay, let's talk about flares. The infamous flares. Often one of the reasons people even want to go for an anamorphic lens is the light flares and the streaks across. I think these are the silver flares or the neutral ones. Like, I don't notice them to be any specific color other than like daylight color in terms of their temperature. The flares on these things are potent and look best when you haven't got thousands of different light sources in your shot all creating flares. It can feel a bit washed and soft and not nicely defined if it's overloaded. Again, if you're using an anamorphic lens, you know you're gonna get flares. It's not bothered me. I've liked them. I've really liked the flares. They're not subtle, but they're not ugly. It's stylistic again, of course, but I haven't ever felt like they've been too much or distracting. The test footage will show you what they're like. And then lastly, I'm gonna put these two together because they're super small and short. Focus distance and build quality. The focus distance is not great. If you want to shoot stuff that's super close, put a diopter on the front, and that sorts that. Build quality, I've already mentioned the beautiful sound. They're completely made of metal and glass, obviously. And yeah, the lens cap is metal. It makes a really nice, like, noise when you put the lens cap on. So yeah, they're heavier than equivalent, not all metal lenses, but they're not super heavy, so yeah, it doesn't feel like a burden to carry them around, and they're not too big. So yeah, there we go, the Blazar Anamorphic. I bought the whole kit for just over 2,000 euros. It's about 700 a lens, which is really not bad at all for what you're getting for the build quality and all the characteristics that are so cool about an anamorphic lens, but they're not gonna fit every single project you do. If you need something that's clinical and clean and like perfect technically, these are not it. If you need to shoot vertical, these are not it for social media. You do not want to crop this into vertical because you're losing 90% of your shot then. So yeah, I've had an enormous amount of fun shooting with them. I'm going to keep using them. And as a creative tool, to have that option sometimes in your camera bag for the price, I couldn't ask for much more, to be honest.